heading, Mr. Hitler, if you think we're on the run. We are the boys who will stop your little game. We are the boys.
Given that this piece of music is very much in that period that you remember very well, there's no need for me to ask you, of course, what that is the signature tune to, is there?
Well, that's obviously Dad's Army.
It is.
It was my dad's favourite TV programme of all time. Well, he lived through that era.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to think, Mike, that, you know, my father was in a ship approaching France with Stuka bomber divers coming down trying to blow him to pieces.
Yeah.
It was living history.
Yeah.
It was living history. And
Absolutely.
So when he,
and we're going to do a bit of history now because you have requested that you.
Well, I don't think I requested.
Yes,
I said if you've got to go on with these, these entrapment type quizzes.
You said that you wanted to pick the subjects because you thought that would be fairer.
You might as well give me a test on something I know an awful lot about.
And you asked for a quiz on the Second World War, so that's what we have now.
I just indicated that I am a bit of a historical expert on that period of history. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, as usual, the quiz questions have been prepared independently.
Oh, yeah,
and,
without any influence from you.
No, and they've been audited independently as well. And if you happen to get one of the answers correct, you will hear this.
And your name will go on the list. What is it? Don't tell him, Pike.
And if you get one of the answers wrong, this is what you'll hear.
Well, Mr. Lardy-Dar Gunner Graham, that is what makes the British Army what it is today.
Remember what that one was from?
That was from It Ain't Half Hot Mum.
It was, absolutely.
Which they won't show repeats of these days because there were too many...
off-colour jokes or whatever.
Yeah, too many instances in it then, which would be regarded as unacceptable now.
Yes, indeed. Right, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Yes.
Question number one. When did the Second World War start?
What?
When did the Second World War start?
1939.
Can you give me the month?
September.
Correct.
And your name will go on the list. What is it?
No, he's looking very pleased with himself. 1 out of 1.
Cute.
Incredible.
Cute.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
Where was the Battle of Monte Cassino?
That was in Monte Cassino.
Where is Monte Cassino?
It's halfway between the foot of Italy and Rome.
Mm-hmm. Can you be any more specific than that?
Yeah, I can. It was a monastery on the top of a mountain, and it impeded the German approach up through Italy to try and take it from the Italians when the Italians had to throw in the towel.
Very famous battle. Yes, I'll give you that.
Yes.
Correct.
What is it? Don't tell him, Pike.
It happened in from January to May 1944.
That's right.
And it's about 30 kilometres southeast of Rome.
That's right, absolutely.
So, right in the centre of Italy. Question number 3. Who directed The Longest Day?
The Longest Day was directed by Richard Attenborough.
Incorrect.
No, it's not.
It is incorrect.
Directed, you say? Oh, I thought you said acted in. Acted in.
No, I said directed.
Directed. No, I thought you said acted.
Well,
I thought you
said
acted.
directed.
No, I want to review my answer then.
Okay.
Directed.
Yeah, who directed
Longest Day.
Yeah.
Longest Day was directed by... it wasn't John Schlesinger.
Is that your answer?
It was... No. Hang on. It was... the director... wasn't Steven Spielberg, because he didn't do war films like that. Well, he did Private Ryan, but he didn't do this one. The Longest Day was directed by... was it David Lean?
The longest
David
answer.
Lean. David Lean.
David Lean. No,
David Lean.
incorrect.
Oh. What's the answer?
Well, Mr. Lardy-Dar Gunner Graham, that is what makes the British Army what it is today.
The answer is actually it was directed by a few people because it was such a massive operation.
Well, I knew that. That's why I didn't give you one answer.
Oh, I see.
You fool.
Ken Anakin could have been one of your answers. Ken Anakin.
Yeah, Ken.
He could have had Andrew Martin. You could have had Bernard Wicki.
Nobody's ever heard of any of those directors.
You could have had Gerd Oswald, or you could have had Darrell F. Zanuck, who you would have
Nobody has ever heard of any of those directors.
You've never heard of Darrell Zanuck?
Well, I've heard the guy at the end. He made a couple of American films, but I mean, that's a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
That is a typical trick question from you.
Well, 2 out of 3. I think I gave you lots of opportunities.
Cheating.
Question number 4. How many Luftwaffe planes were lost in the Battle of Britain?
Luftwaffe planes?
Yes.
In the Battle of Britain?
Yes.
They lost over 600.
Over 600,
Over
yes.
600.
You've got to get to within about 10% of the number, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's more than 600.
They lost over 800 planes, actually.
Are you just going to go up a couple of hundred?
No.
Is that your answer?
My answer is 850.
Yeah,
well,
incorrect.
Mr. Lardy-Dar Gunner Graham, that is what makes the British Army what it is today.
More than double that. 1,636, which is almost half of their entire aircraft.
In the Battle of Britain?
Yes. That's why it was such a pivotal battle.
I think you're confusing the Battle of Britain with the Blitz, which carried on after that.
Not at all.
And where we shot down an awful lot of planes on night attacks.
That was the number of planes that was lost during the Battle of Britain.
I dispute that. I don't think you know anything about the Battle of Britain. I know everything about the Battle of Britain.
Well, you don't know how many Luftwaffe planes were lost.
We'd have lost the Battle of Britain if the Germans had continued to bomb the airfields and not turned their attention to bombing London.
But one of the reasons
I know everything about it.
One of the reasons why the air attack on Britain by Germany was curtailed.
We shot down so many planes.
Was because they lost so many planes in the Battle of Britain.
Germany ran out of steel to build replacements.
They also ran out of aircrew. Question number 5. What was Vichy?
Vichy was the alternative government set up in the south of France after France was invaded and occupied by the Germans, and the Germans allowed it to exist as a so-called, quote, free state, but it was under Nazi influence.
I'll give you that.
What is it? Don't tell him, Pike.
It was the de facto capital of France during the Nazi occupation from 1940 to 1944. So that's 3 out of 5.
Whilst General de Gaulle, of course, was running the alternative French government, the Free French, from London.
Yes, he was indeed.
I've got a lot of sympathy with the French about that invasion, because if we were landlocked to France, we'd have been invaded as well.
Yeah.
So the French had no chance
Well, the Channel
whatsoever.
Islands were invaded, weren't they?
Yeah, they were,
They were part of our country. Question number 6. Who was the monarch during the duration of the war?
King George. King George.
George with what?
King George the...
King George the...
No, hang on. It was either George the 5th or the 6th. So it was King George the... Well, what's that got to do with the Second World War? That's about the reign of monarchs.
He was the monarch during the war.
That's about the reign of monarchs. It had nothing to do with fighting. He didn't jump into a Spitfire and shoot off over to France and... shoot down a few Messerschmitts.
Well, you think he had no role whatsoever to play?
King George V.
Wrong.
What was it then?
Well, Mr. Lardy-Dar-Gunner Graham, that is what makes the British Army
King
what
George
it is
VI.
today.
I knew that. I knew it was King George VI.
Well, why did you say it was the 5th then?
Because you tried to catch me out, because what I forgot to factor in was the abdication crisis.
Yes.
It was King George VI.
Yeah, well, too late.
King George VI.
3 out of 6. Question number 7. When was Pearl Harbor attacked?
Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941.
Do you know the month?
It was... I'm just trying to remember the film. Problem is you can't tell from the weather because it's Hawaii and the weather's the same all the year round in Hawaii. That's the problem. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at your logic.
No. Hang on. I would say it was...
Are you talking about the film with Kate, what's her name? Kate Winslet?
No.
No, right.
No. I'm talking about Tora. You know what that meant, by the way?
No.
You know what Tora stands for?
No.
Attack.
Does it?
Attack.
Oh, okay.
That was the Japanese pilots. Yeah.
I have to hurry you.
Let me see. It was 1941. It was the month of. It was the month of. I think that again was September.
Wrong. It was December the 7th, 1941.
Well, that's close enough.
I'll give you half a point.
Yeah, that's close enough.
I'll give you half a point for the year.
I want a full point. I got the last quarter of the year.
No, you get half a point. So you've got, 3.5 out of 7, which is not bad. Can you name 3 stars from The Great Escape?
What's that got to do with the war?
The movie, The Great Escape. What's it got to do with the war?
Yeah.
Well, it was made about an incident during the war.
Right. Richard Attenborough, Steve McQueen,
Yeah.
and the guy who played Jim Rockford. You know, the guy who played Jim Rockford.
What's his name?
Well, I've told you, this guy who played Jim Rockford.
Well, you have to give me his name if you want to have it as part of your answer.
He's better known as Jim Rockford.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, Donald Pleasance. Donald Pleasance was in it as well. He was the blind guy.
Correct.
Hey.
You're already beating your record here, 4.5 out of 8.
See, and that was knowledge. That was knowledge on cinematography, not the war, because you cheated again.
I didn't ask you about cinematography.
Stupid
well, it's a war
questions.
film, isn't it?
It was a cinematographic question.
Cinematographic.
It wasn't nothing to do with the war.
James Garner is that guy's name, by the way.
James Garner, that's
from
right.
the Rockford Files.
Yeah.
Question number 9.
Yeah.
Where was Hitler's mountain hideaway?
It was called the Berchtesgaden.
The what?
The Berchtesgaden.
You'll have to pronounce it correctly if you want to get the point.
It was called the Berchtesgaden, and it was in Bavaria.
Yes, true.
What
On
is
the
it?
edge of
Don't
a
tell him,
mountain
Frank.
overlooking...
But I can only give you half a point.
Overlooking the Black Forest.
I can only give you half a point because
Why?
It's Berchtesgaden.
It's the Berchtesgaden if you come from that part of Germany. I know the local dialect.
It's not Berchtesgaden.
No, you've got to give me a full point on that.
Well, spell it then.
We're not going any further.
Spell it then if you want to get a full point.
Berch garden.
Okay. Berchtesgaden. That's the way you pronounce it.
Yes,
I'll give you a point
Berchtesgaden.
for that. Then.
Hey!
So you got five. You see how happy he is. He's 5.5 out of 10.
Wow. Wow.
Now, question number 10.
What do you mean? Exactly. You haven't had 10 questions yet, you
yeah,
fool.
well, because I'm predicting that maybe you won't get this one. But
Oh,
you
so
should.
you've already gerrymandered the question.
I
then.
haven't gerrymandered
You've already
it.
gerrymandered the answer.
This is one of the easiest questions you'll ever have.
Right, go on.
Question number 10. What film score is this? Any idea?
What's this got to do with the Second World War? It's got nothing to do with it. This is not a cinematographic question.
Well, it's a
It's a cinematographic question. It's nothing to do with the war.
in that case, you got the Great Escape question right. Shall I take that point away?
No,
you
because
don't mind
I
that one.
used my extra knowledge for that. I
Oh,
used
right.
my subsidiary knowledge. I used the... I
didn't
used,
use the book
I used
of knowledge, did you?
You know, the fuel in my spare tank. Why couldn't you give me, you know, one like the...
I thought this was the easiest question of the lot.
Who was that?
That's the Dam Busters,
That's
wasn't
it, the Dam Busters,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's a classic piece of classical music. That wasn't written for the film.
What, Dam Busters?
No, though. The one you're playing now is a classical record.
No, it isn't.
Written by somebody like Mozart or Brahms or something
Really?
like that. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Brahms or Liszt, perhaps?
Yeah, or something like that. And...
I'm amazed you don't know this.
Well, that could be the Battle of Britain, I suppose. I'm not saying that's my answer.
Well, what is your answer? We're going to have to hurry you.
My answer... that... You see, you've already talked about
You've
the
already
longest
done
day.
very well. You've got 5.5
You've talked about
out
the longest
of,
day. It can't be the longest day, so... let me think. What other Great War films were there? Was it something like...
Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
You see, you so far you've mentioned The Longest Day, The Great Escape,
Yeah.
all war films,
Yeah.
and nothing to do with the war, you know?
Nothing to do with the war.
Nothing to do with the war, nothing to do with the war. And now this one.
You're running out of time.
Oh.
I'm going to give you 10 more seconds.
Right, okay.
Give me an
In
answer.
that case, I'll have to say it must be the Battle of the... no, it's not the Battle of the... It must be The Longest Day.
The Longest Day.
Yeah.
We played the music for The Longest Day when we asked you
Oh,
that
well, it's
question.
not that then, so
it's
that
not
doesn't
that.
count.
Incorrect.
It doesn't count. then.
Incorrect. You're not going to get it, are you?
Gonna Graham,
Well,
that is
what was
You've
it?
still done very well. It was Where Eagles Dare.
Where Eagles Dare.
Which is one of the most famous Second World
But that
War
was a
films of all time.
cinematographic question again. I've just told you.
Well, it's still a war question.
Why couldn't you have said to me, you know, who was the German general in charge of the Africa Corps?
I thought about asking you that. It's too easy, isn't it?
No. Well, you could have asked me more difficult questions. You
Well,
could
like,
have,
who was his second in command?
yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, who was
or,
his second in command?
What do you mean?
Who was his second in command?
It's irrelevant.
You don't know, do you?
Of course I know, but it's over. I mean, you could have said to me, for instance, you know, in what year did what was the name of Hitler's attack on Russia? You know.
Well, you could have said that as well.
Well,
the truth of the matter is, you got one of the film.
What was the
questions
code name for Hitler's planned invasion of Britain? Sea
Well, I
line.
didn't ask you that.
Sea
I
line.
don't think it was Sea Line.
It was Sea Line. I'm
Anyway,
telling you.
yeah, well, that was the thing that was disrupted by the Battle of Britain.
You could have said to me, what
I
did...
could have said any number of things to you.
What did we disguise the power plant on the Isle of Wight as when we had to send all the petrol on a cable funnel to France for the D-Day invasion?
I don't know, a circus tent?
No, an ice cream factory.
Ah, well, there you go.
An ice cream factory.
Well, I didn't ask you
know
that one.
Ben?
So you've
See?
got... Well,
Could've
if you
told-
want me to
Yeah.
discount the films and take away the point that you got for The Great Escape, that would mean you had 4.5, which was pretty good.
No.
So you don't want to have
Not
that one
taking-
taken
not
away?
taking anything away.
Well, in
No,
that case, you've got 5.5, which I think is a new record for you. The only thing that's ever come close was the quiz on chocolate.
Damn cheese, honestly.